Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Gemma. I go through acting advice, tips and tricks and just basically things that I wish I knew when I first started out. So today we're going to talk about agencies / management and key alarm bells that either I've experienced or things that I've seen personally whilst my time in the industry, and yeah, things that just seem a little bit dodgy. So for me, mainly in the UK, it's acting agents, but of course a lot of these apply to management if that's what you're looking for or that's what's around. But they're kind of the same thing. We won't get into that, but the premise still stands. And the fun little disclaimer, obviously this is all my own opinion, either experiences or things that I've seen, as I mentioned. You can take this as you want, take it with a pinch of salt. Doesn't mean that everything's going to be like this, but hopefully this can just give you a little bit of an idea of things to look out for, or things that aren't normally normal, in my opinion. I just hope that some of this can help you answer any questions or queries that you might have, or things that you might be experiencing now and not quite sure if it's normal to the industry or it isn't. So first of all, I'm going to go through things that are questionable but does still happen quite often in the industry when looking for management or agents. So when signing up to an agency, they say it is mandatory to get headshots done with their photographer in-house so then they can promote you on their website. I think that's a little bit fishy, but also what's even more fishier is when you then find out that their photographer is a family friend and it's all within like a little circle and a little bubble, but you didn't know about that until you've done a bit of digging and research and stuff. I do think that's a bit iffy, especially if they say it's mandatory and you have to pay how much. It's a bit different if they're offering it for free, but often not, it's like a discounted price, so all your headshots basically look the same kind of format in the agency. I think it's questionable. So at one point I was looking for management and an agent online, and I came across this agency and my details was already on their website. My whole information, bio, everything is said that I was on their books, and I wasn't. I had no idea about this agency. I just went on Spotlight and contacts and things like that and just done a bit of Googling, but I was already on their website. So yeah, that is not normal. That should not happen because I did not give any type of consent, any contact with them prior. Thought it was very weird. Yeah, hopefully that's completely unique, but very, very, very bizarre. Another one is being asked for my own personal connections, weak set connections, so they can get help landing further roles for their people on the books through jobs that I've got. Now it's a bit different if you offer it, don't get me wrong, that's completely different, but to then kind of in the interview stage of getting an agent, you know, you're kind of selling yourself. They were just asking who I'd done this, who I'd done that with, you know, can we hook them up? I thought it was a bit weird, bit off, you know. And for me it paints a light of, well, then do you not have any connections, and then if I was on your books, are you just using other people's, and I wouldn't really be progressing any further within the industry. The way it came about I think was a bit odd and too soon in my opinion, so I think that's a bit weird, bit fishy. Things like that should just never be expected. I think with any type of relationship, like professional relationship, it should never be expected. It should be an offer. So another experience I had was when I was asked what my dream role was, and then being told that they would get that role for me and I'd be perfect for it and it will happen. Of course, like for myself, I was like 18 or whatever, no, a bit older than that. Still quite young. And when you hear something like that, you think, oh yeah, that's great. But in actual retrospect, that's not a good thing to say. You should never, well, I believe they should never say, I will get you that role, if they have no type of connection or potential to do that. There's a difference in saying, these are the type of roles, or that would be my dream role, and they have an idea of what you want to be casted in or what role you want to be in. It's kind of 1 in a million that would ever happen. And yeah, I think it was just a bit, it's not fair when someone's young and aspiring to be in the industry and telling them what they want to hear. I don't think that's nice. This one was being told that I don't have a face for commercial. I think it completely caught me off guard. It was in a meeting and yeah, I was told that I didn't have a face for commercial. What? don't know what that means, but I think it's a bit brutal, and especially with commercials, and to be honest, this whole industry, it's all subjective to the person who's casting it or who's creating the project. So I think it's a bit small-minded to say that. And the irony is that I just done my first commercial. So yeah, I just thought it was a bit out of the blue and caught me off guard, especially because I didn't ask about it. I was just being asked of what fields do you still want to pursue in, and I was like, well, screen, motion capture. I was like, commercials, if it happens, it happens, but it's not like my main focus. And they were like, yeah, well, you don't really have a face for a commercial anyway, so I wouldn't think about that. I was like, ooh, a bit brutal. Yeah. Now we're going to go into things that I genuinely believe are a complete red flag. And it doesn't matter what, I think it's a big red flag. If they are saying things that are too good to be true. As I said, there's difference between ideas and potential and things we aspire to get for you, or roles to land and things like that. But sometimes they're just things that are too good to be true, that they're just trying to blow smoke up your butt. I think that's the right phrase. But yeah, things like that. It is a red flag. Another one is telling you what you want to hear. Now, don't get me wrong, they're there to help boost you up and fill you with confidence, but at the same time, you do need someone that's going to be honest with you. I personally believe an agent, you should have an honest relationship, or as much as you can have, and there shouldn't always just be a yes man, you know. You should have the balance of the good and the bad in a constructive way, of course, but yeah, just telling you things that you want to hear and it not actually happening is not a good sign. Another one that's a major red flag, and this is just not even kind of opinion, this is fact, I believe, is not saying or telling you the full breakdown of full information, whether it's a contract, a job, payments, anything like that. That's 100% a red flag, especially when it comes to like legal stuff, money stuff. You need to see that breakdown. And if they don't tell you, or they're a bit wish-washy about telling you, nah, not good. And what I believe are 100% definite no-nos. If they have sent you a dodgy contract, it's hard to say exactly what dodgy means, but if the information on the contract is a bit off or doesn't make sense, things like that, nah. Especially when it's coming to you signing to be a part of their agency, to be on their books. If you don't understand the contract, don't sign it. You know, if you don't have much experience, send it to someone who you trust, who has experience with contracts, things like that, or ask questions. If you don't understand your contract, just ask them. A lot of it can be legal mumble-jumble words, and it actually means something so much more simpler, but just ask them. And they should tell you exactly what that means. And if they don't, or they're beating around the bush, no. Yeah, just always read the small print. And I've been there, and don't get me wrong, I get this, but don't feel rushed for a decision. Sometimes there can be a bit of pressure. You think, oh my God, I need to sign it now. And I've been there. I completely get it. And it does suck when sometimes they might say, oh, you have 24 hours to let us know. It's not cool. So take as much time as you need. Another one is a complete no-no, is asking money up front. No, you should never give them money up front before you sign with them for an agency. It's not like a normal service that you would, I don't know, buy online a top and then it gets sent to you. This is not like that. They work off you or money off the commission that they make you. No, that doesn't make sense. It's all based off commission. The work that they get you, that you perform, they get the commission from that. You don't, or you shouldn't pay them up front at all. I don't think you should pay them for any of the industries, whether it's theatre, that is stage. But no matter what it is, if it's stage, screen, commercials, voiceover, you name it, you shouldn't have to pay that agent up front first to then do work for you. It's not how it works. Another one is a big no-no, is to confirm for something, whether it's a job or anything, without your consent. If they're signing on behalf of you without your consent, that is a no-no. Unless you've agreed something previously and you have that all sorted out, they should never just say yes on your behalf, especially if, yeah, you haven't confirmed to it. With certain things like that. No, 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 no. Another definite no-no is percentages that they take from your jobs is too high. Now, this can vary a little bit, especially depending on what country you're in. As far as I'm aware, America, they have a very strict law on it. It's like 10 to 15%, I believe. Don't get me wrong, don't quote me on that. I'm not from America, I haven't had American jobs. But theirs is a bit different to the UK. But whereas in the UK, it does depend on what type of job it is, depends on the rate of the commission. For example, sometimes commercials can be a lot higher, and there's different kind of money bits and percentages after when it's like usage fee, buyout fee, things like that. But average, what I believe, it shouldn't be more than 25% unless there's a really significant reason why. I think a good ballpark is 15% to 25% max. And often the 25% I've only agreed because it's for a certain criteria of a type of job, if that makes sense. But yeah, if it's way too high, bit of an alarm bell, as I'd say. Always ask them. You can ask them why the reason it is so high for that, for the commission in that certain area, of course. But yeah, I think anything generally at this time, in this day and age, but like 2024, I don't think anything higher than 25% is cool. Another thing that I think is a bit off is if you're asking to see what they've submitted you for via your Spotlight page and they say that they can't give it to you, that's messed up. It's not that hard for an agent to be able to send all that information to you. I've seen other agents show me how they do it. Doesn't take long. Bit different if they take a little bit of time to get back to you and they eventually send it, or if you're asking for it every single week, yeah, you're obviously eating up their time. But if you're, I don't know, asking once a month, you want to see what you've been sent or applied for and you want to be sent that, they can do it. So yeah, especially if it's Spotlight and you're asking to see what you submitted for and they say they can't, they can. And these are things that I think are completely up to you. You know, we're all in different situations. We all think differently, of course. And some things that I might personally not agree with, you might think is perfectly reasonable or you're okay with it because of A, B and C. So this is why this is up to you. Whether the agency takes commissions out of the jobs that you land yourself without their help. A lot more these days, the agency will take a commission out of the jobs that you get. It's up to you. I think the difference is if you land a job and say yes to it, but you were being applied for something via them and you can't do the job that they applied you for because you're doing the job that you agreed to, then I think it's kind of fair for them to take a commission because they would have been getting paid if you're on the other job. But if they're not landing you anything or you're not getting any auditions at all and it doesn't seem like they're being active or they're proving that they're not being active for you as an agent and they're just taking cuts and commissions out of the work you get, it's a bit different. So I think you should see your situation, see where you majority get work or don't get work, and if you're okay with them taking commission from it, if you don't land a lot of roles yourself, or if you are landing roles in a different area that they're in, that they are representing you for, bit different. So again, up to you. And the final one that I think is a up to you decision is paying for their in-house workshops and training programs or classes. A lot of agencies do have it alongside their agency, or they say it's compulsory to join in and attend these workshops and training. I think it depends what stage you are at in your career. If you're new in the industry or you haven't had much training or you would like more training, of course. You're only going to develop and learn more about yourself as a performer and an actor and how you work. But if you're more established or you have a lot more experience and you don't feel like you need to have those compulsory lessons a part of their company, then you don't need to. It all depends on your situation, I honestly believe, and where you feel like you are in your career. So a lot of them do have them either as like partnerships or a partner company, or it is the overall agency and company, it is one, or you just want an agent that just represents you and just applies you for jobs. Both are fine, it's up to you. But again, always look at the fine prints. And at the end of the day, the best advice I think anyone has ever given or can give, doesn't matter what field or industry you're in, is trust your gut. Obviously it takes time to learn those signals and those signs, but if something feels odd and not right, it probably isn't. And I think there's no harm in asking other people's, ones that you trust or your loved ones, on the situation if they think it's good or bad. Doesn't mean that you have to do or say what they said, but it's always good to get another opinion on the outside, and that will, I honestly believe, that will help you figure out how you feel about the situation, whether it's good or bad. So yeah, don't ever be shy to ask anyone their opinion, because it can really help make you realise what you think. But yeah, I hope that helps and wasn't too long. But of course, any questions or anything, just write down in the comments. Let me know, I will get back to you. But I wish you all the best getting management, and I hope that you don't experience anything dramatically bad or any of those things. Hopefully you have a nice process. But anyway, good luck, take care, and see you in the next video. That's 100% rent. I think a Google